Hi, I'm Irving. You have just entered Cartertopia. We open on a young boy who's bouncing a ball against a house when he sees Wonder Woman drive up and get out of a car.
Gosh! Wonder Woman! Wonder Woman!
That's not the real Wonder Woman. She drives a much better car than that.
Wonder Woman!
I wonder how long it took him to learn his lines.
Gosh! Wonder Woman! Wonder Woman! Wonder Woman!
His name was Harold Pruitt, and he was 8 years old when he did this, so all things considered, he did okay. He went on to have a pretty successful career through the 70s and 80s. Unfortunately, he also seems to have had a pretty successful drug habit as well. I couldn't find any details, just that he died of an accidental drug overdose in 2002 at the age of 32. His family created the Drug Treatment Foundation and turned some of their property into a halfway house for recovering addicts.
Steve.
Yeah.
I've got to run over to the hospital.
What's happened?
Well, it seems that 10 minutes ago, Wonder Woman was brought into emergency.
Okay. What?
Steve says that a lot since he got bumped up to management.
And you have no idea who she is?
Actually, I was rather hoping that you might tell us, knowing Wonder Woman's affiliation with the IADC. Obviously, she isn't the real Wonder Woman, but...
But obviously, she or somebody else is taking advantage of her resemblance.
Until they removed her wig and makeup, the resemblance was pretty striking. She's still unconscious and will be for a while, though the doctor says she'll make a full recovery. Diana wants to examine the costume she was wearing.
Dr. Ward, please...
You can get into med school on a football scholarship?
hardly.
Well, it seems to me that he ought to be wearing a football jersey instead of a lab coat.
Who?
Oh, him. The other physician attending to our Mary Doe.
There is no other physician assigned to our Mary Doe. So who is he and what's he doing?
What are you doing?
Getting glass all over the place. That's what he's doing. Diana sends the doctor to get security, then transforms and goes after the bad guy. He has too much of a head start and she loses him. Needless to say, the syringe had a nice lethal cocktail in it, which is now in a vial in an evidence locker somewhere forever and ever, amen, and good riddance. What kind of mind invents something like that in the first place? Anyway, security has been beefed up around her, and we still don't know who she is or why someone tried to kill her.
Remember, Sergeant Klein, no one enters unless his or her name is on that list.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Jacobson to radiology, please. Dr. Hurwitz, you're wanted in orthopedics. Please report to orthopedics.
Diana is examining the costume and wig.
Could even fool a real Wonder Woman, don't you think?
Diana laughed out loud and said, "Don't get me started. These seams? You gotta be kidding. And this isn't real gold. My mother would never..." Yeah, maybe. While she's doing that, Sergeant Klein has a phone call.
Sergeant Klein
I'd
here.
like to know as soon as she comes
Hello?
around. Also, please
Hello?
let me know if and when you
There's
find
something wrong
out
with this phone? There's
who
no one
she
on the line.
is.
Well, there was.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is something wrong, Sergeant Klein?
It took her 10 seconds to realize the guy she just posted on the door is standing right next to her. And somebody just went into Jane Doe's room.
One move and you're dead. I step away from there. Now!
Okay, no problem.
I drop that and kick it over here.
They're just roses.
At least he didn't jump out the window, which is nice considering they just got it fixed.
Do it. Now get up against the wall and spread them.
Relax, Sergeant. They are roses.
Not until I find out what's in his pockets.
They aren't roses until you find out what's in his pockets. Please explain to me how that works. Jane Doe's name is Nancy Clark, and he's Todd Daniels, a friend who lives in the same building.
What was she doing posing as Wonder Woman?
She poses as a lot of things. She's a model. Wants to be an actress.
He's got it bad for her, that's obvious. And reading between the lines, she doesn't necessarily reciprocate.
Who hired her?
I don't know. She didn't tell me.
Did you ask?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder why she didn't tell you.
Okay, she wouldn't tell me.
When Nancy wakes up, it might be good to see a familiar face, so Diana orders the sergeant to let him stay.
You idiot! First that girl goes wandering all over creation and
That's not a familiar face. That's not even a real face.
in that costume, then you botch the only opportunity we'll have to get rid of her. You're every bit as muscle-brained as you appear.
I told her time and time again, don't wear it in public. What more could I do?
You could have made sure she didn't wear it in public.
The man who just took off the mask is Roman. His boss is Edgar Percy, an expert in makeup and disguise. He says thanks to Roman's bumbling and Nancy saving that little boy, his plans are ruined. Roman says, no, I guarantee Nancy won't talk. Meanwhile, you have other girls ready to step in, call on one of them. I can teach her the stunts and have her ready in time. Percy reluctantly agrees. He's off to oversee the event that they need a Wonder Woman for, fashions that made the 20s roar. Wonder Woman appeared in the 40s, not the 20s. Are you sure you did your research? We meet John Austin, the hotel's event coordinator and the guy who's aging prematurely as he tries to make sure he accommodates the 30 richest people in the city. He gives Percy an update, and Percy goes back to his room in the hotel.
Would you page Mr. John Austin, please?
John Austin, call on house line 3.
John Austin.
I sincerely hope Mrs. Havenher's charming husband is still planning to attend your hotel's bash tomorrow night.
For some reason, Percy is disguising his voice and making anonymous threats to the hotel. He keeps telling Austin he's going to murder somebody, and there's no way anybody can stop him.
They're just crank calls, Steve, nothing more. I mean, if somebody really wanted to kill Ambassador Havenhurst, why would he call me and tell me about it? And why would he do it at a charity event featuring a fashion show, for Pete's sake?
Look, if you're convinced this guy is a crackpot, what are you doing here?
Advice, old buddy. I was hoping you might suggest a way out of this mess.
A police or other such presence could ruin the whole event. On the other hand, if he does nothing and a guy does get murdered, not only does he lose his job, he has someone's life on his conscience. Diana reports in. Steve learned that Nancy has a minor police record, while Diana got the name and address of the person who bought the costume. She's on her way there now.
Nancy. Nance. Hiya, kiddo. How you doing?
Toad.
Todd.
I know your name.
She's equally smitten with him, you can tell. She can't remember anything, so he explains how she came to be there.
How many people know? I mean, about what happened to me?
You made the noon report on Channel 2.
Oh, no.
She keeps brushing him off, and he finally says somebody tried to kill you this morning right after they brought you in. You need help.
Percy wants me dead.
Percy? Who's Percy?
Oh, just get lost.
Todd can't understand why she's so hostile to the idea of him helping her.
You know why I got that modeling job, huh? You know why they hired me?
Because you're a beautiful girl.
Because I got a record. Check forgery and shoplifting. And they figured anybody desperate enough to break the law once wouldn't mind doing it again.
Todd says so. My brother's been busted 3 times for weed. Having a record doesn't make you a bad person. Nancy won't believe it and keeps ordering him out.
No matter what you say, whatever mess you're in, I'm gonna help get you out of it. I wish you liked yourself half as much as I like you.
Todd sees through all of it. He's the kind of person you want in your corner because he believes in you even when you don't. Diana has arrived at the hospital and parked her car on the top level of the garage. That was too cool for words. The driver assumes Diana fell to her death and starts to leave.
Hold it!
She's going to fall for it, isn't she? Little old ladies can be dangerous too, Wonder Woman. Witness Batman's foes Ma Parker and Black Widow. Percy gets word that Diana fell enough stories to fill a children's book and moves on to the next phase of his plan.
Pity your colleague had to come to such a dreadful end. But life goes on, and you have work to do. Such as helping me steal several $1 million worth of jewels and furs from the cream of Washington society.
Presumably, that means robbing the fashion show that he's setting up. With all the richest people in town attending, most likely decked out to the nines in their most expensive excesses, that could be the haul of a lifetime.
Fred Roman?
Yeah.
I'm Diana Prince.
He's not even trying to hide his surprise, which is the same as saying, yes, I'm guilty.
IADC?
I expect to see someone else.
What you mean, don't you, is that I'm the last person you expected to see.
You mistakenly assume that a splat on the pavement can't walk and talk.
Huh?
Well, you see, I had this little problem getting here, almost as if someone didn't want me to get here at all.
The costume shop gave her his name. He trains girls to do some stunts and then rents them out as Wonder Woman for parties and such. She confronts him about the attempt on Nancy's life and he plays ignorant. Again, not very well. This guy's face is an open book. His replacement for Nancy arrives just as Diana is leaving. At the hotel, Percy has his models rehearsing. Things are going about like they usually do at a rehearsal, an exercise in Murphy's Law. While they're taking a fix-the-equipment break, Steve comes in. John introduces Percy.
Well, what do you think?
Well, there's no question about it. You need professional help.
Oh, no. What do you suggest? A platoon at every door?
Hey. No. What I suggest is that you limit access to the room to just one door, and everybody going through it will be screened electronically for weapons. Then allow a few of my agents to circulate during the party.
John isn't crazy about a bunch of agents or cops running around the place looking intimidating. Percy suggests they pose as waiters. They settle on 3 agents, and it's all arranged.
Oh, and Mr. Percy, I realize that these guns on stage are props, but we'll still want to check them out, okay?
Oh, of course. But we will see you here tomorrow night, won't we, Colonel?
My men can handle this without me.
Oh, no, Steve. If you're not here, it's no go on any of this.
All right. I'll be here. But I get to sit at a front table.
We need him to be there so we can replace him with a guy in a mask. And he has to have a front table because, duh. I guess Todd figured out who Percy is. Diana is talking to Nancy, who isn't too forthcoming. Diana asks about the modeling and how she found out about the Wonder Woman gig. She said it was a newspaper ad.
Big money. Opportunity for tall, athletic feet.
Go ahead and finish the word. Diana knows what you were going to say. It's not wrong to be a feline enthusiast.
They offered you big money for a birthday party.
Oh, no. I was thinking of another ad.
Yeah, that other one that said big money. This Wonder Woman one actually said small money.
The Wonder Woman job, I got that through a friend.
Nancy.
That was it.
Nancy, those people who hired you, they want you to think that just because you made some bad decisions once, that you don't know how to make good ones. But that's not true. You proved it yourself when you saved that little boy's life.
She's insulting Diana's intelligence and she knows it, but she's more afraid of Percy than she is of the IADC. Steve is all decked out and off to the party. Roman, under a different name, meets him and says, I need to show you something. Look at the pretty stars, Steve. Diana had Ira track down the ad Nancy told her about. Oh, athletic female, as opposed to an athletic woman, which is something totally different. An athletic female could include a woman, a chimp, or a horse. That's an equal opportunity employer. Diana calls the number and gets someone screening calls for Edgar Percy. That means she's also going to the fashion show.
How goes it, Colonel?
Oh, just fine. Look. Confiscated from 3 of our guests. I explained it was for their own good, of course.
Of course. Unfortunately, one can hardly argue with the IADC.
True.
How about the guns up on stage?
Loaded and ready.
Diana should be able to spot that voice instantly. He's not even trying to imitate Steve. But instead of going to talk to Steve, she goes backstage where she finds someone she didn't expect.
What are you doing here?
I'm trying to figure out what kind of trouble Nancy is in so I can get her out of it. Listen, something really big is going to happen out there tonight.
I know. But I have no idea what.
I can tell you one thing. Whatever it is, it's not going to be good.
I can tell you another thing. And it's not going to be pleasant. Not for you two.
Whatever's going to happen on stage looks like they'll miss it.
Hold it. I want to watch the show, don't you?
Or not. Well, they certainly started with a bang. She announces that the guns are real, so start putting all your valuables in the bags that the models are passing around. We kill a lot of runtime watching the models go around collecting everybody's stuff while people mumble and mutter about it. Yes, it's boring. After we've used up enough film, Diana sees something she never expected to see. Fake Steve tells the people everything is under control. The waiters are my agents and they'll collect the bags. Everything will be taken to police headquarters and you can claim your belongings there. Because that's totes how it works, yo. Diana has had enough.
Back just as soon as we photograph the evidence. I'm sorry.
Call the police. Don't worry about that. Go!
Everything will be returned as quickly as possible.
She could have done that any time. She just wanted to see what was going down and how bad a Steve Trevor impersonator they got. It's time for the real Wonder Woman to crash this party. Does Percy pay you the same rate he pays me? Somebody needs a facial.
Real bullets this time, Wonder Woman.
Bullets didn't stop her, so he's going to go hand to hand. Why do they always do that? Every time they end up just like Roman, flat on their back on the floor with a raging headache.
You okay?
Oh, yeah. It's another lump on the head to go along with my collection. But look who I found waiting in his room, unaware that his plan had gone astray.
They should not have gone astray.
His mistake was assuming that because a person has a record, they're a bad person and always will be. But Nancy isn't. Her act of saving that child in the street brought this whole thing down around Percy.
Which reminds me, I got a phone call to make. Thanks for everything.
Sure.
So do I.
After he called his lawyer, he called his church. He made a complete turnaround and became both a priest and an inspiration for Whoopi Goldberg.
I think I'll make reservations for 2 at the Chateau Lafitte.
Oh, what's the occasion?
Well, you don't think I'm going to let this tuxedo go to waste, do you?
I've had to cram myself into one of those, and he's right. You don't waste all that ridiculous effort. Percy's plan was brilliant. Pose as the thieves stealing the items, then pose as the authorities recovering it. When the people go to the police station, the police stare at them like they have 2 heads. Only then do they realize they've been had, and Percy and company are long gone. Nancy's one act of selfless kindness demolished it. And Nancy? She and Todd had 7 daughters. Oddly enough, none of them went into modeling. Something about their mother would strangle them if they did. I'm Irving, and you are now exiting Cartertopia.